I've always had this connection with nature, right? Ever since I was a kid, my parents got me outside as much as possible. And it became this kind of therapeutic thing, being around wood. Now, I'm a climber, right? I do bouldering at my local campus gym. On the wall there's all of these wooden climbs. So I thought, in order to connect with wood in my own special way, throughout the month of November, I'm going to teach myself how to climb them.
It's the first of the wooden ones that I'm going to attempt. I think I've done this one before, so it shouldn't be too hard on myself.
Progress is a journey of making mistakes. When you take them in, then you'll get where you need to go. Or at least you'll find the logical next step. This is what I do as a climber.
And sure, sometimes the problem is strength, but that just offers me the next step.
It's my second one, starting in the middle somewhere there.
Sometimes making a decision is utterly overwhelming, sparking questions such as, does this feel right? Would somebody else agree with the route I chose? Too often we're paralysed with choices and outcomes that echo around our head like a car in a tunnel. But of course, whatever option we pick, life will continue on, whether we fall or climb. It turns out appreciating the route that we pick is far more satisfying than any of the others.
This is the third of my wooden one. This one's very slippery, the holes are very difficult to get to grips with.
The journey I often go on is a jumbled mix of stepping back and surveying, falling, the odd scrape or bloody finger, and occasional success. But I like wearing a record of my achievement, and whether that's in gained muscle mass or bruises, I don't mind. A journey in my book has to be tough and exciting in equal parts. The point I'm trying to get across is, when I'm climbing, I feel utterly there. I feel completely whole with the wall, and that's utterly comforting, having this absolute connection with each finger movement, each foot's placement. My whole body becomes this vehicle that I'm driving. To me, that's the goal. It's to be there in the moment with myself and with everything that is around me, even if that is just the same repeating bouldering wall. I feel completely at home, and bringing nature indoors is just another way that I can connect with it.
One of my favourite things about this journey is the walk-in. It's always so kind of peaceful. It helps me to reset a little bit.
Therapy comes in all sorts of forms.
Whether that's talking, acts of service, or getting outside. For me, it shapes itself around the bouldering wall, which I suppose is exercise, but it's also taking me away from whatever is going on outside the wall. Sometimes I can see how well I'm feeling just through climbing. If I'm having a bad day, my frustration will come out as poor foot placement or clunky movement, usually culminating in me hitting the mat with a lot of force. By the time I leave the wall, I usually know more about myself than an hour of therapy could tell me. And then I know that I can return as little or as much as I need. It's a reliable, non-judgmental place where I can be myself.
My climbing journey so far had been pretty easy, but this was the climb that finally broke me. If you see someone looking scrupulously at their hands, they're most likely a climber. Climbers care for their hands like their children, pampering them with chalk and balms until they're strong enough to stand on their own 2 feet. Or fingers, in this case. And it's because every move requires grip with the wall. If we find that we're constantly failing a climber might think that they need to train their hand strength, which is exactly what I'm doing here. What's more infuriating as a climber is when we think we figured it out, but are still falling to the ground. To figure out a climb, you need to ask yourself a series of what-ifs. What if I bring my leg up like this? What if I place my hand differently on the hold? When you run out of what-ifs to ask, that's when it changes from just another climb in the gym to the wooden one. I'm in a bit of a rush this morning, but always need time to brush your teeth. I'm heading up to Edinburgh today, so I'll not be able to go climbing for another week. Before my train at 1, I'm gonna go for a final climb, but I'm a bit worried because that climb is really hard. I'm worried I won't make it. Keys, where are your fucking keys? Oh, for fuck's sake. I need a drink. Right, so I've about half an hour, 40 minutes if I push it a little. I think I can do that. It's a fast walk here.
Most climbs have a crux, a place where most of the difficulty lies.
Past your lips.
But once you're past that point, the rest of the climb is relatively easy. The wooden one's crux was a hold into which only one finger could sit. I could see the logical route up this climb would have me putting my whole body weight on that one middle finger. But in my head, I was screaming not to do it in case I ripped the whole thing from my hand. So I was trying out this leg thing, which just wasn't working. The minutes were ticking. I knew I couldn't get another shot as good as this, so all I needed to do was shut my inner voice up.
I did it. I'm so pleased with myself because I was really anxious coming up to this next 2 weeks, and knowing that I was going to be away, I knew I wouldn't have time to train, so I'm really satisfied now.